Okay, as far as what we need to do for today is we need to start putting our drawings, first of all, to scale. And then the second thing is we're going to put it on a piece of paper to print. Remember, the whole purpose, not the whole purpose of the class, but a main goal of the class is for you guys to create what's called a construction document. The construction document, it's remember how we communicate. We communicate our drawings by simply putting them on paper. And then we print the paper and we send the paper off either for construction or maybe to the city of El Paso for we can get a permit to build our house. So whatever the case may be, we need to create a construction document and print it on paper. Okay. Now to do that, some people need to, whenever it's on paper, we need to be able to reference it and be able to measure it in case we're looking at a floor plan and we're looking at a room and we want to see how big that room is. We need to be able to measure it on that piece of paper. So on that piece of paper, whatever paper that is, like let me grab this bigger one here. We need to grab this piece of paper and this plan, and then like, okay, I'm looking around, and okay, I want to get a feel for it. Well, the thing is that, like a house, for example, a house needs to be scaled to fit on a piece of paper. Okay, so because of that, we have to use what's called a scale. Okay. So as far as the scale, we have different types of scales. This one that I'm holding here is architectural scale. It's kind of hard to see on the camera because it's because of the fact that we're using the camera. But nonetheless, the scale is what we're going to be using to put the particular drawing to a scale so that we can measure using a scale to be able to figure out, okay, the room is 10 feet 8 inches by 12 feet 4 inches or something like that. Okay. So whenever we put a drawing to a piece of paper, we need to use a particular scale. Which scale? Well, it depends. It depends which scale we're using and what fits within the piece of paper. So there's a lot of factors, but nonetheless, we use a scale. This is what this is. This is not a ruler. Sometimes students call this, beginning students call this a ruler. Oh, let me use the ruler. Like, oh, no, a ruler is something you use in fourth grade or fifth grade when you start measuring stuff, which is fine. That's good. But this is a scale. This is what you use to measure architectural and engineering drawings, and we have different types of scales. Okay, so the actual ruler, I guess if we can call it, that we have is more sophisticated. Specifically, it's called a scale. Okay, and I learned this from one of my Spanish-speaking students a while back. In Spanish, it's a escalímetro. That one I didn't know, but that's kind of cool. Okay, so before we start talking about setting drawings to scale, we need to talk about what type of paper or what size of paper are we going to use. Okay, so that's really the first thing I need to talk about. So on your screen, you can see that we have different types, different sizes of paper. Okay, the way we usually specify them are called sizes by A size, B size, C size, D, and E. And there's different specifications. There's ANSI, A size, and there's architectural A size. And there are some variances. They vary a little bit, not a whole lot, but it is different. Okay. I don't make this stuff up. I Googled it this morning, and you can kind of see I just simply did a Google search for CAD sheet sizes, and I went to this website, and these are and these are standard sizes nationwide. It's not just here in El Paso. It's really nationwide. If you're at an engineering firm, they'll tell you, hey, put that on a C size paper. Okay, architectural or ANSI. Oh, architectural. Okay, so then you go look up the architectural C size, and you notice it's a 18 by 24. Okay. So the ones we're going to be using in the classroom, we're going to start with an ANSI A. That's an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. It's a very common piece of paper. You use it all the time. It's a letter size piece of paper. It's a paper that you use all the time whenever you print a report for your English class, or they call it letter size in some cases. But this is a simple A-size piece of paper, and it says 8.5 by 11 inches. So if I were to measure it, it actually measures 8.5 inches by 11 inches. Okay, that's what it measures. Okay, so that's your A size paper. The next size paper that we use here in this classroom is in 11 by 17 B size. Okay, the 11 by 17 B size. The B size is a little bit bigger. That one is a little bit bigger. It's a B size. Sometimes they call it a tabloid. not that it really matters, but it's actually double the size of an A size. If I take two A sizes and put them next to each other, that's your B size paper. So that's your 11 by 17 B size paper. Okay. Another paper that we use, paper size that we use here in the classroom, we actually jump over to the architectural. That's 18 by 24. Okay. Now, why 8.5 by 11? And why not an architectural A size 9 by 12? It's just because that's what I happen to order. Whenever I order paper, I order letter size paper from our warehouse here at the school district. So, we just happen to be using an ANSI-A. The thing is, it's still an A size. And if you look at the sizes between these two, it's pretty similar. They're not exact. They're pretty close. So, just so you realize. But generally speaking, just A size that we're going to use is 8.5 by 11. The B size we're going to use is 11 by 17, once again, because that's the paper I order from our school district. I'm able to get this from our warehouse, or even if I go to Office Depot, you'll find this pretty easily. Honestly, I don't think I even find any architectural B at Office Depot. I haven't really looked, but that's a little bit weird. The more common ones is ANSI-A and ANSI-B. The architectural C. So now we're going to jump to an 18 by 24. I don't use 17 by 22. I use the architectural C size 18 by 24. Why? Because that's the paper I'm able to get. Okay. And that one looks like this. So you notice it's even bigger. It can actually cover my whole head behind the C size. This is a little bit bigger. And this one actually has a title block on it already. So this one already has a title block, which is where we're going to be doing in a little while in AutoCAD. The title block is where you're going to put the date of the drawing, your name, who drew it, any revisions, the scale of the drawing. So that's your C size, architectural C size. And then another very common size we use, and actually this is more in the industry, is a D size. So notice the D size is even bigger. Okay, this is pretty big. This is what's called a subdivision plat. Let me see if I can get it in the middle of the... So you can kind of see it's pretty big. Okay, this one measures 24 inches by 36 inches. Pretty big document. So this is a subdivision plat. We are going to be working with those later in the semester, but nonetheless, I just wanted to go over those sheet sizes. And there's even more sizes. Okay, and we don't use these in the classroom. Some architects do. I've seen some architects use an architectural E size, 36 by 48. That's pretty big. That thing, geez, it's just big. And there's also metric sizes. Okay, there's also metric sizes. So just keep that in mind as far as the different sizes of paper. But in the classroom, generally speaking, we're going to use ANSI-A for the most part. I actually use this one the most. It's the one that works best. It's not very big. It's manageable. We have a printer that prints directly to a B size. So to be honest with you, we're going to be using the B size quite a bit. I don't use A whole lot. D also, unless we're doing subdivision plats on the civil engineering portion of the training. But C is another one that I like to use a lot because we have a plotter, which is a large format printer that prints big pieces of paper. So that one is what we use here in the classroom, 18 by 24. But I actually just kind of go and use the B size the most. Okay, so that's kind of the ones I use the most. And throughout the class, starting from today, I will tell you what size paper to use for your drawings. So whenever I assign a drawing, let's say call it fixture base or whatever, the next question should come from me if I haven't told you what size paper. B size, C size, D size, you need to ask, okay?